Jackson on the drive, kicks it out for Man. Man, three-pointer, bang! Oh, what a man!
Magic down the middle, just what I thought. A hook shot at 12, good!
Here's Michael at the foul line, a shot on Elo,
Good! The Bulls win! They win it!
Now there's a steal by Bird. Underneath the DJ, going up over Bell, ball away. Yes! Yes! At the buzzer, he does it! Was there ever a doubt? A Smith screen, Posey will defend.
Oh!
LeBron James with no regard for human life.
It's a physical game. Oh, me, oh, my. A monster jam by Blake Griffin.
What's going on, guys? Welcome to my full Western Conference preview and standings prediction for the 2024-25 season. I like to do these every single year for both conferences. If you didn't check out my Eastern Conference one, check that out on the channel. I did that with the Four Sportsmen. Sadly, we couldn't make the schedules line up to do it today. So I'm going to be talking 1 through 15, giving a little prediction preview for each team, and it'll be time-stamped. So if you only want to listen to certain teams, you'll be able to get to that very easily. Obviously, follow your boy on social media at DimeDropperPod on Twitter and Instagram. And, of course, subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bells for all things NBA, LA sports, and, of course, a hub of LA basketball. So let's get right into it. And, by the way, speaking of Into a Dome and Clippers, Lakers, and all that, I detailed my plans for the upcoming season in a recent video and reacted to the Dodgers going to the World Series, baby, in a video last night. Check those out if you haven't yet. Beautiful time to be right here in LA. So let's begin, though, with we're going to kind of alternate. We're going to start with 1 and then go to 15 and then go back and forth like that. So the team that I have finishing with the best record in the West this year is the Oklahoma City Thunder. I don't think this is news to anybody. I don't think this is a hot take. I think they're the most popular pick to not only be the number 1 seed, but go to the NBA Finals. This is a team that shocked everyone last year by being the 1 seed. Everyone knew they were going to get better, but they were the 1 seed, right? In Chet Holmgren's rookie year, but he had one of those Blake Griffin, Ben Simmons rookie years where he missed the whole year, but was around an NBA team. So he wasn't like your normal rookie. But you have him, you add him to the equation. Jalen Williams took another step up. And then Shai Gilgeous-Alexander not only averaged 30 points again, but his defense was great, and he was doing it now on a number 1 seed. The thing people were saying was, okay, he's carrying a weak team, a young team that is the 10th seed in the West. How about from 10 to 1 in 1 year with the simple addition of Chet Holmgren and a natural development? Cason Wallace, though, can't forget him. They were a good team on both ends of the floor last year, 4th in defensive rating, 3rd in offensive rating, won a first-round series in commanding fashion over the Pelicans, swept them, embarrassed them, and then lost in 6 to Dallas. And in my opinion, in that series, SGA, for a guy who was in the playoffs for the first time as a leader, unquestioned leader of his team, that was his 3rd overall playoff appearance after the 2019 with us and then 2020 in the bubble. This was his 3rd playoff appearance, but it was his first one as the man. And he passed every single test with flying colors. He was unbelievable. 32, 8, and 7 in that series versus Dallas on 51, 55, 83 splits. That's 55% from 3. Now, people complained about his lack of three-point volume. 23s attempted. He's more of a mid-range assassin. To me, I think that's all overblown. If you're getting 32 points out of your best player on that efficiency, you're not complaining. I think when you look at the second guy, Jalen Williams, 17 points per game on 42% from the field, in today's game, with the pace, the amount of possessions, that's not very good. And that, to me, is one of the biggest reasons that the Thunder were eliminated last year, is that lack of a clear-cut second guy. Now, I don't think they have to get a second guy. I think Jalen Williams will be that second guy. This was, his second season? That was his second season last year? And now he's going into his 3rd. This guy is 23 years old. I mean, come on. And Chet Holmgren's going to get better. Now, also, Chet Holmgren, he couldn't really create his own shot like that. He could against blatant mismatches, but when you put a big physical wing on him, he isn't really a post-up guy. He's still super skinny. So he doesn't really take advantage of size in any other fashion besides shooting over somebody. And he can get a shot off on anyone, but his release is a little slow. He's got that little hitch in his shot. So he was able to get blocked more than I expected last year on some closeouts by the likes of Derrick Jones Jr. and PJ Washington in that series, or Herb Jones even at times, if I recall correctly. But Jalen Williams and Chet essentially expanding their offensive game, being able to be given the ball to help SGA get a bucket, that's going to be huge. To me, they won't become a championship team until they have a second guy that can take some pressure off of SGA. I think Jalen Williams can turn into that guy. Even Chet Holmgren, but I'm more confident in Jalen Williams. Because to me, Chet, will he ever be a back-to-basket kind of guy? I don't think so. And is his bag ever going to get crazy enough where he's completely mixing dudes and blowing by, bigger wings? Because the thing is, against like the likes of like an Ivica Zubac or Yusuf Nurkic, yeah, he can blow by them, I think, in an isolation situation. But what teams are going to do is they're going to put like a PJ Washington kind of guy on him, or Nicholas Batum kind of guy. How are you going to score on that? Because you're not going to blow by them like that with your shiftiness. And then you're not going to post them up because they're pretty strong and you're kind of light in the ass. So that's going to be something to watch to me going forward. But that's more of a playoff discussion. They got Caruso and Isaiah Hartenstein coming to this team. And Isaiah Hartenstein's going to be out for a little bit. But come on. They were already an insane defensive team. Now you're throwing SGA, J-Dub, Lou Dort, and Caruso out there. That's an insane point of attack combination, just defensive-minded guys. And then Isaiah Hartenstein and Chet. You could even mix it up and have Chet at the 4. Now you can stretch the floor. Now you have more length and size out there. You don't have to play drop coverage. You can send Chet out and then have Isaiah Hartenstein on the back line. I mean, it's just, or vice versa. Like, it's going to be Isaiah Hartenstein that most likely would get put in pick and roll. And then you can maybe switch with Chet, have him guard the perimeter a bit. I mean, there's so many endless, avenues that the Thunder can go in with their scheme defensively and offensively. They have good movement in their offense. Their players instinctively move pretty well. Mark Dagnall's a great coach. I see natural progression in this team, and with them finishing number 1 last year, there's no doubt in my mind that they'll be finishing number 1 this year. I think if SGA gets hurt, though, they are not in nearly a good situation as some other teams potentially, in terms of if a team's first option is out, how can they perform still? SGA played 75 games last year. If he misses games, I think they'll be better equipped than before, just because Jalen Williams and Chet Holmgren, I think, are just going to get better. But if they didn't have SGA, I don't even think I'd have them. I wouldn't have him in the plan. I think that's how valuable he is. I have him as the MVP this year. So, and then, do you think it hurts me seeing SGA be this good on the Thunder when we had him in our back? We had him in our hands. We drafted him. You're damn right. But it's Kawhi Leonard's fault. He didn't know how good SGA was. Let's see. 55-20 last year with SGA. And the Thunder finished with let's see. They won only 2 games without him. They were 2-5 without him. So there you go. And that's not a very big sample size. But the reason why I'm going with them first is because I have more confidence in SGA being healthy than certain other teams' best players. So I'm going to go with them number 1. Number 15, I'm going with the Portland Trailblazers. And I really didn't have to think too much about this. I think I have some exciting young players like Shaedon Sharpe and Scoot Henderson, and Anthony Simons, who at this point, I don't even think you can consider him young anymore. He's kind of been around for a minute. But Scoot Henderson, I'm just hoping he doesn't enter bust territory. And notice I said I'm hoping he doesn't. That means that I'm not saying he is right now, because a lot of people just like to call guys bust right away after they have a shitty rookie season or soft first 2 years. I don't believe that. Now, DeAndre Ayton is a guy who I expected a lot more from last year. Finally got his own situation, and he averaged 17 points. 17 points? He should have been averaging 20. How are you only shooting 14 shots a game? 14 shots a game? It's ridiculous to me. You should be trying to be the guy on this team. You were the number 1 overall pick in the draft, dude. I think that he's very just passive, in my opinion. And I know he ended the season better, but is he going to average 20, DeAndre Ayton? So I wouldn't put my money on that. This team is not good. Toumani Camara is an exciting player. I don't know. This team is not it. It's all about Scoot Henderson. Can he shoot the ball? That's really what it comes down to. Can Scoot Henderson shoot the ball? And is he good enough finishing around the basket and passing and defending that his lack of shooting is not the worst thing in the world? Because you never like your guards not being able to shoot, but you can get by if you're really great at other things. How great is he at those other things? I don't know. They're still going to be the worst team in the West to me. Because I want to get them over with, number 14 is the Utah Trash. They're exactly what I said they are. Trash. It's great to see them in the mud. They did re-sign Larry Markkinen to that nice deal, big deal. And everybody, the Warriors were trying to seemingly go for him. Steph Curry kind of admitted it at media day. But they're a rebuilding team. They're going for Cooper Flag for whatever reason, just like the way I saw Wemby fit in San Antonio and knew he was going to go there. I feel like Cooper Flag is destined to be Utah Jazz. Is it partially because he's white? Yes. So I got the Jazz. I got nothing to say. I like Keontae George, but they're not going like they have a surplus of picks. They're in a good situation in terms of long term, but they're going for Cooper Flag. There's no secret. So let's talk about the 2 seed this year. And I'm going with the Denver Nuggets. And I had to think about this a little bit. If the Minnesota Timberwolves had kept their team together, I probably would have gone with them second. But there's just something about the reliability of Jokic. And then they've had that core of Aaron Gordon and Jamal Murray for a couple of years now, and MPJ. I'm going with the Denver Nuggets. As far as Westbrook, how I think Russ is going to fit into the equation, I think he's going to come off the bench. They're going to start Christian Brown most likely, but can Christian Brown shoot the ball? I was big on Christian Brown the first year when he won the championship, but last year it feels like he hit that sophomore slump because he could not shoot the ball. And they're going to need him to make shots because you already have Aaron Gordon, who's not really convincing from the outside. And you love having Aaron Gordon in that dunker spot next to Jokic anyway. But, you got Russ in the equation. It's like you got some non-shooters in there. As far as last year, Aaron Gordon, he shot 29% from three. So, that's not very good. So, never mind. I don't know why I thought he shot better from three. Guess he didn't, but he shot 56% from the field. So obviously from two, those lobs and those in the dunker spot, and his athleticism creating those baskets around the rim. He's efficient. Christian Brown shot 38% from three last year, but in the playoffs, he shot 22% from three. Jokic shot 26% from three in the playoffs. Yeah, I'm also a little bit based on the Olympics and last season, what's good with Jokic is three ball. I hope for their sake that it's back to being around 40%, which is what he was at. Jamal Murray, he's had a rough last 8 months or so. That performance against Minnesota, where he basically got clamped, and honestly, he was getting clamped in the Lakers series, but made some big shots in games 5 and 2. But he was getting locked up. In the Olympics, he wasn't able to hit. And for me, there's a reasonable assumption that he's being overtaxed, from the outside. I know he was dealing with some stuff, but who's not dealing with some stuff that deep into a season? For me, he was getting a lot of the same looks that he was making in 2023, and he just wasn't hitting. He's a tough shot maker. He doesn't get many easy baskets. He's not the quickest in the world. He kind of just gets to his step back, gets to his sidestep, comes off screens, and hits his jump shot. He's really good about his footwork into jump shots and can score from anywhere on the floor, has great counters, has a very good handle. He's just not the quickest in the world and most athletic after that ACL tear. So he lives on a diet of tough shots, right? When those tough shots are not going in, as much as he is making an impact just with his pick and roll play with Jokic, besides that, he's not great. I'd say at this point, I'd consider Murray a slightly below average defender. I think he's a good passer, but he disappointed in the playoffs. In the regular season, 21 points a game on 48% shooting and 42.5% from three and 85% from the line is good. It was more the playoffs. And that's what it comes down to with Murray. we know about Jamal Murray in the playoffs. It's a thing. People talk about it. People know about it. He wasn't quite good enough last year, and everybody knows it. So I got the Denver Nuggets finishing second because, to me, they got the best player in the world, and I still believe he is the best player in the world. And yeah, they're just reliable because that core's kind of been together. Will they miss KCP? Absolutely. Now, here's where I'm going for number 3. I'm going with the Minnesota Timberwolves. And the reason I'm going with the Minnesota Timberwolves is because they largely have a similar team led by a young superstar in the Ant-Man. Rudy Gobert is going to be Rudy Gobert. Julius Randle. Now, that's an interesting addition. Randle, he might make the spacing suspect and a little clunky for sure. Because he and Gobert, Gobert can't shoot a lick, and Randle, he thinks he's a better shooter than he is. But I think it gives him a little more toughness. It gives them a guy that when Ant-Man is a little tired, and by the way, just going back to the Nuggets for a sec, I think Jamal Murray was also spent because he had no backup. His best backup was Reggie Jackson last year. Russell Westbrook much better than Reggie Jackson. Now, to the Wolves, they were the best defensive team in the NBA last season. Spectacular, but got cooked by the Mavericks. And Kyrie Irving and Luka Doncic were amazing. They're going to be back in the mix. Julius Randle instead of Cat. I know a lot of people aren't too high on that move, but I think Randle will still be good. He's a more reliable, go get your own shot kind of guy. Shot creator overall to me with more aggression than Cat. I think Cat's fantastic in the pick and pop, but I think the way he chooses to ISO is very, it's not it. He tries to start at the top of the key and face up all the time and, play off one foot and just throw up random runners and try to get fouled. It's just not, I don't know. He doesn't take advantage of his size the way he once did at Kentucky. But so I'm not all aboard the Minnesota Timberwolves made a terrible trade bandwagon because they still have Nickeil Alexander-Walker. Dante DiVincenzo is coming off the season of his life, and he's riding on that confidence that he got from New York. I don't think the Wolves are going to be bad at all. I think they're going to be very good again. Still have Mike Conley, who at this point we're wondering how many years has he got left, but he's still a pretty solid player. And then Jaden McDaniels, one of the best role players in the NBA. This is the team that made it to the conference finals last year. So I'm going with them with that 3rd seed. And they also have Naz Reid. They did lose Kyle Anderson, but I don't think that's too big of a loss. So, and they also have Rob Dillingham. Exciting player. Exciting indeed. Let's see where they picked him. 8 in the draft from Kentucky. So we'll see how much burn he gets. But I got the Minnesota Timberwolves finishing 3rd. Now, finishing 12th. This is really harsh. And let me just say, by the way, about the West. The Western Conference is back to being a bloodbath. Last year was a bloodbath, but I thought 2023 was a little weak. 2022, also a little weak. But these last 2 years, I think we're seeing the best parity, at least I've seen in my lifetime watching basketball. 1 through 12. And especially in that 5 through 12 range, it's insane how even these teams are. There's only 1 or 2 really bad teams, in my opinion. Whereas in the 2000s, that late 2000s where the West was insane, where you had to win 48 games to even be in the playoffs. After about 9 or 10 even, it was a huge drop-off. Right now, you legitimately have 12 teams to me that have a case to be in the playoffs or the play-in. Coming up, I'm going to be talking about 13, but I got to go to the sponsor. Sorry. This video is in partnership with Mint Mobile. Ever wanted to cut back on your monthly bills? You've got health insurance, you got different kinds of insurance, you got your TV, cable, you've got your phone bill, you've got your electricity, and you want to cut down, simplify that. Well, that's why I'm so intrigued by Mint Mobile, who this video is in partnership with. They offer premium wireless for just $15 a month. I can get high-speed data and unlimited talk and text on the nation's largest 5G network. I can even bring my own phone along with my current phone number and existing contacts. So I'm not sacrificing anything. I've used Mint Mobile. And the thing about Mint Mobile is it's not hard to switch your service. Big Wireless wants you to think it's hard, but it's really not. Switching to Mint is super easy. Thanks to digital eSIM cards, which most phones now have, you can sign up and activate immediately right on your phone from the comfort of your home. If your phone doesn't have an eSIM, Mint will ship you a new SIM card for free. So if you want to save little money without the sacrifice, go to https://trymintmobile.com/dimedropper. That link will be in the description so you can get started. Switching your plan takes as little as 15 minutes. That's Mint Mobile. All right, ladies and gentlemen, back with the Western Conference preview, predicting every team's standing in the West for the 2024-25 season. Super chats are turned on if you want to drop $1 or a dime. Any donation is appreciated for your boy. We're going to talk about the 13th seed right now, and I'm going with the San Antonio Spurs. Now, that's a step up for them because last season they were second to last. They're moving up one spot. I think they'll be a fun team to watch. Of course, how big of a jump is Wemby going to, have this season? It's going to take. And you got CP3 in the mix. So I'll be very interested in watching San Antonio play this season because Wemby, CP3, obviously it's going to be a great pick and roll duo. Seeing Chris Paul in a Spurs jersey is absolutely hilarious because I think he never would have played for them back when they had Tim Duncan, Tony Parker, just because he wanted the ball in his hand so much. I don't think that would have worked with what Popovich wanted, but the game has changed. They need any sort of pick and roll offense that they can get. CP3 with Wemby will be great to just have an adult in the room. But my thing with the Spurs is this. Offensively, I'm still a little skeptical on them. Wemby, the thing about Wemby is everybody just thinks this guy's the second coming of Christ. And I absolutely, I wouldn't say I love Wemby, but I really like him. He has great humility. I love his, demeanor and the way he talks. And he seems like he wants to be great and seems far older than he actually is with the way he speaks and the way he conducts himself. But he seems to be impervious to criticism right now because everyone's so in awe of his length and size and the specimen that he is. But to me, offensively, he doesn't impress me that much. He's another one of these KD wannabes that's not KD, that's a tall, lanky dude that wants to be a face-up player, and it's going to just be amazing. It's going to do some amazing shit in the highlights. But when it comes down to it, how many easy baskets is he getting? Back to basket, he's got some skill there, but to me, he doesn't go enough to the post because he is kind of light in the ass. Same with Chet Holmgren. The lower body strength is not quite there right now, but he's only 20 years old. Now, facing up wise, he's just not KD. He's not shifty enough, and he doesn't have a crazy bag like that where I can say he's going to average 25 plus points a game, at least this season. He's got a lot to go. But to me, everyone's saying he's the next greatest player of all time and all this. Like, settle down Mike Smith, in my opinion. But defensively, generational. I mean, I said that before he was even played a game. I said defensively, I think he's going to be much more league ready than offensively. But it seems like he's impervious to criticism right now because everyone's so in awe of his ability. To me, I mean, listen, no, he shot 32.5% overall from three last season, 46.5% from the field. So his 2-point percentage was 53%. If he wants to keep shooting threes, I think the defense will live with it. I saw a stat that he was like 39% or 38% on pull-ups, but it doesn't matter to me. Like, if you're a defense and a 7'4" player with that size is shooting that many threes and he's shooting 32.5% overall from three, you're living with it. It's not making the defense work the same. You'll take it. Now, as far as the Spurs starting lineup, another reason why I'm low on them is that Devin Vassell, who I think is really, really talented and can get buckets, is always injured. So they're starting the season probably with CP3, Julian Champagnie, Harrison Barnes. It's funny, Harrison Barnes on the Spurs, Jeremy Sohan, and Wemby. They still have Keldon Johnson, who I think is a really solid player, and Zach Collins. And it'll be interesting to see what Stephon Castle does, who was the 4th pick in the draft out of UConn, who just won the championship. So they'll improve to me. They're a league pass team. They're a team that I'll definitely be watching and chiming in on here and there, especially in the beginning of the season when I love watching other teams in the beginning of the season because it's the first impression. It's how the story begins. And to be honest, everyone knows that follows me and has subscribed to me for a couple years that I am not too high on the modern NBA and the way it's played, especially the regular season product, in which to me it's being altered so much and with all these new gimmicks because they're admitting that the regular season isn't fun anymore because players sit out and teams sit out their stars. It's a complete mess. I hate it. But the story of guys' careers and the story of teams throughout the season, I still love that. And I pride myself on knowing what's going on with the NBA because I always have. And I love my team. And of course, paying attention to what the Lakers are doing, there's never a dull moment over there. I was so tempted to say across the hall, but we're not across the hall anymore. The Spurs, I see a comment by my boy Luca. He says, Keldon Johnson starting. I wouldn't be so sure because Harrison Barnes is a seasoned vet, and Keldon Johnson only started 27 games out of 69 last year. So eventually it seemed like they moved him to a sixth-man role. So I wouldn't be surprised if Keldon comes off the bench. And yeah, it was towards the end of the season he became a guy that was a sixth man. So maybe he's a sixth man of the year candidate. I mean, they won't be good enough for him to be a sixth man of the year candidate. Now let's talk about the number 4 seed in the West, and it's a team and a fan base who was really starting to interact with me a lot last year, and I really appreciated them for it. It's the Dallas Mavericks, the team that the Clippers have played in the playoffs 3 out of the last 5 years. Luka Doncic, probably my second favorite for MVP after SGA. I just think the Thunder are going to be really, really good and better, and people are going to say, wow, like SGA probably could have gotten it last year and his team's number 1 again. We got to give it to him. But I think Luka will be, the whole 9 yards in terms of his stats, 30 points a game. Kyrie Irving will have another great year. And Kyrie Irving, by the way, for those that don't remember, missed a really large chunk of games last year. Luka played 70 games, but Kyrie only played 58, and they're also getting a full season of PJ Washington and Daniel Gafford, who only played 29 games for them last season. This is the team that went to the finals and lost 4-1 to the Celtics. Did they improve on what they were missing? Well, Derrick Jones Jr. shot terribly from 3 in the finals. So now they have Klay Thompson, who's got that championship pedigree. But as much as I love Klay Thompson, who's probably my favorite Warrior ever, I don't think he's that good anymore. I think he's very hot and cold offensively. He won't be as shot hunty with the Mavs, in my opinion, because it's not the team that he literally is like the man. Like he's a legend for that franchise. He's kind of starting from scratch in terms of building his reputation with the new fan base, with the new organization. So I think he's going to just sit in the corner, sit on the wing, and hit threes. Maybe come off some screens here and there, but overall, it's going to be a lot of standing and feeding off of Kyrie and Luka. He said that he knows that's coming. He's ready to shoot, but there are going to be games where he's not hitting. And then defensively, on ball, I think he's still decent, not enough to guard your best players, in my opinion, but enough that he's not a liability. But in the point of attack, getting over screens and then off ball, I don't think he's that great anymore. Obviously, he was very good in his prime. So I don't think that really moves the needle for me. I'm worried about their perimeter defense, even though Quentin Grimes and Najee Marshall are very solid players and very solid pickups. That's why I got them finishing 4th. I think the Mavericks are more dangerous in the playoffs than the Minnesota Timberwolves. And I'd honestly say they're more dangerous in the playoffs than the Thunder too, because they have Luka and Kyrie Irving. But I'm going with them 4th in the regular season. Sorry, Mavs fans. And I don't think they're going to win the championship either. I don't think Klay Thompson's going to move the needle like that. Losing Derrick Jones and Josh Green and then getting Klay Thompson, Najee Marshall, and Quentin Grimes. I just think it's not going to be the difference between winning a championship and not. Kyrie Irving has to play much better in the finals if they want to win. And I don't know. It's really hard to go to the finals in the NBA. It really is. I got the Mavericks finishing 4th. Now, this is where it gets tricky because every team now has a real good case of making the playoffs, not just the play-in. And every team that's going to be left off those final two teams that are going to be left off, their fan base is going to think I'm an idiot. But every single person that's making predictions in the world that has two of the next, however many 7 teams or whatever, 8 teams left out of the play-in, that fan base is going to think that person's an idiot. The fact of the matter is, it's super hard to predict this stuff. These teams are so close into how good they are. And it really just comes down to who's healthier, which teams are healthier. That's what every season comes down to now. It's a lot more prevalent because how many guys are getting injured these days. Injuries are at an all-time high, and they're obviously load managing around the league. So, in 12th, and I'm just going out on a limb here, and you know what? I'm going to be very honest with everybody. If I were not a Clipper fan, we would be here because Kawhi Leonard and his health is such a big question mark. We lost Paul George. I don't think the loss of Russell Westbrook, actually, it is. When Russ was great, he was really good. So I think that'll hurt a little bit. But if Kawhi were healthy to start the season and I had more confidence that he could play 60-plus games again, I would be so high on the Clippers because our defense is going to be amazing, but we're not going to get to them yet. Finishing in number 12, because I'm a Clipper fan and I have to be a little biased, I am going with a team the only team I've said that I currently like, although there's another team I kind of like as well, in the West. By the way, I would love the Oklahoma City Thunder if we didn't hand them the keys to a potential championship with SGA and the picks. Jalen Williams already was one of the picks the Clippers gave them, that we gave them. So it's hard for me to want them to be good because assuming that they are the first seed, if we are terrible, they will swap picks with us and we'll be the 29th to 30th pick in the draft next year. But finishing 12th, I have the New Orleans Pelicans. I like the New Orleans Pelicans. I'm a big Brandon Ingram guy. But I have to say, they want to get rid of him. And his health is a humongous question mark every single season. And I have to say, he was so good against Phoenix in 2022 in the playoffs. But for how good he was then, he was equally terrible last year. Lou Dort put him in an absolute jail cell. He got no easy baskets. He does not get by anyone. He just wants to take contested mid-ranges, really. And I love the contested midi for guys like that, but he's got nothing else. He does not blow by anyone. He's not crazy shifty. He got clamped. Point blank, end of story. Improved passer, though, and I think he's an improved defender as well. I like Brandon Ingram. I think he's an all-star level player. But last year, 21 points a game. The previous year, he was, 24 points a game? Let's see. 25. So he dipped, shot less times. I think partially that's because Zion was back. Zion only played 29 games in 2023. But his health is such a question mark. I'll just tell you, since the year he had blood clots, he missed 30 games that year with the blood clots with the Lakers, 2019. Only missed 10 games in 2020. So he looked better there, and that's the only year he was on the All-Star team. In 2021, he missed 11, so not too bad there. But then in 2022, he missed 27 games. In 2023, he missed 37 games. And then last year, he missed 18. I'm just not convinced that he's even going to be on this team after the trade deadline. So that, and then I don't understand what their idea is in the starting lineup. Are you going to play Zion at the 5? Because if you do, and you're going to try to switch everything, I think you're going to get cooked. Herb Jones, Brandon Ingram, awesome defenders. DeJounte Murray, Brandon Ingram is good. Herb Jones, one of the best in the league. DeJounte Murray, he did not play as good of defense with the Atlanta Hawks as he did with the Spurs. Not even close. He's got to go back to being a solid defender. But I don't understand this move. Is CJ McCollum going to come off the bench and be a sixth man? Because that would be fantastic. He'd be my favorite for sixth man of the year. But they're going to start DeJounte, CJ, Ingram, Herb, and Zion. They have Jose Alvarado and Trey Murphy on the bench and that Jordan Hawkins who can shoot the lights out. The question is, will Willie Green give him that opportunity? But I don't know. It's a little bit of a weird mix to me. It's a little bit of a weird mix. They lost Najee Marshall. They got Daniel Tice. They also lost Larry Nance. I like Daniel Tice, but I don't think he's even better than Larry Nance. So I'm going to go with them 12 because I think there's going to be changes happening. And then there's Zion, the Zion Williamson question mark. How many games is he even going to play? He worries me health-wise. I love when Zion plays because he's so aggressive. But last year he only missed 12 games. Then he got injured in the playoffs. The year before, he only played 29 games and obviously missed the entire 2022 season. So I'm hoping that Zion, it's mainly because I'm questioning the fit and Zion and Ingram's health, and they don't have a center. That young player, Yves or whatever, is he going to be the guy? Because Zion at the 5, he's an improved defender, but I just don't think that's it. Because once one guy gets blown by, you have no secondary rim protection. Your help is minimal compared to other teams. So I don't know. Herb Jones at the 5. It doesn't matter who's listed at the 5. It's going to be a switch everything scheme. So every other team is going to just target Zion and CJ McCollum left and right. I just don't think that's the right mix. Their spacing is also a big question. I don't know. I got them finishing 12th. I don't really love that roster right now. They want to get rid of Ingram. It's very clear. Now we're going to talk about the number 6 seed. And here I will tell you this or the 5 seed. And I'll tell you this right now. If Kawhi Leonard, if we had a guarantee that he was playing 60 plus games, let's say every team in the league, their best player had a guarantee of, honestly, let's say every team in the league's best player had a guarantee of 70 games. I think we would be the 5 seed. I think we're that solid when fully healthy, and people are sleeping on us, which is, again, that is a step down from last year. So I'm not one of those Clipper fans that's saying we were addition by subtraction. We lost Paul George. We're going to be better, but I think we're much better than people think. The thing is that makes me drop the Clippers and not have them 5 is because of Kawhi's health and not being able to start the season and being out indefinitely. So the team that I have finishing 5, and this might be a little controversial, but I think they're a good regular season team and will be improved. But I have major questions about their defense is the Sacramento Kings. They got DeMar DeRozan. I think that gives them a third guy that can score the ball. But defensively, if you look at that starting lineup, Fox, Keon Ellis, DeRozan, Sabonis, and Keegan Murray, they have 3 good defenders there. Fox, Ellis, and Murray. DeRozan and Sabonis, they're not very good defensively, but offensively, they're fantastic. They still have Kevin Huerter. They still have Malik Monk. I think they'll be a good regular season team. Will their defense be elite? I don't know. But I'm going with the Sacramento Kings 5 because I'm genuinely just not that high on anyone else. That's really what it is. I'm not that high on anyone else. And last year, the Kings beat the Warriors in the play-in game and then lost in the second play-in game to the New Orleans Pelicans. But last year, De'Aaron Fox, and I think they're a good, reliable bet in terms of health, honestly. Sabonis played every single game last year. Now, will he do that again? Probably not, but I think he's a good bet for 70-plus games. De'Aaron Fox, 74 games. Malik Monk did get injured in the end, which sucked. Played 72 games. Keegan Murray, 77 games. I think replacing Harrison Barnes with DeRozan is a clear upgrade. I really like Keon Ellis. His defense is really, really good. As far as their backup point guard, I think you're probably going to have Monk essentially run that second unit, but I'm not high on their front court off the bench. Alex Len, Trey Lyles. But here's the thing. When I talk about these other teams, you'll really see something. Now, I got a comment from my man, one of my mods, Kyle's takes. He says, Sac's defense is not going to be very good. As long as DeRozan is added to your team, the defense goes down. Here's my counter argument to that. Harrison Barnes was terrible defensively whenever I watched him last year. His feet were stuck in mud. So we're talking about an offensive upgrade and defensive, neutral. I didn't watch the Bulls as much as I watched the Kings. So I can't tell you how much better DeRozan or how much worse DeRozan was defensively than Harrison Barnes. But I can tell you that I don't think it means much anyway. I think they got an upgrade there. And look, I could easily be wrong and the Kings could not even make the play-in, but that'd be a massive disappointment because DeRozan is still a very, very good player in this league. In the playoffs, yeah, we're not going to talk about that till we get much closer to that. But I got them finishing 5. The reliability health-wise is what makes the big difference for me. Last year, they were 14th in defensive rating. I think they'll be middle of the pack this year. 13th in offensive rating, though. In the previous year, they were 1st. So I think they get back to being in the top 10 offensively. So that's what I'm going to go with. Now, As far as number 11, I have to do it. I'm sorry, guys. I think they'll be above 500 this year. I legitimately think the 11 seed will be like a 43-win team, maybe even 44-win team. I'm going with the Houston Rockets. And let me just say, this is only because I'm a Clipper fan, and I would much rather that OKC trade picks with them than us. The Houston Rockets are on the rise. And after years of hating them with a passion because of D'Antoni and Harden, I really like this current squad. Now, they gave Jalen Green a fat deal today. 5 years, $150 million, which is, or no, it was more than that. He's getting basically $35 million a year. Now, I have seen nothing besides that last kind of stretch last season where Jalen Green was going off. That makes me think even in today's market, he's $35 million a year. But I keep being reminded by everybody, and they're right, that there's going to be a new TV deal soon, and the contracts are going to be even more outrageous. Jalen Green, I think he's really the biggest question mark for me with Houston. How efficient can he be? How good is this guy? Is he an all-star caliber player in the future, or is he just one of those guys that's probably best suited being a sixth man kind of guy where he comes in and gets buckets and creates some offense, but he can't actually start for winning teams because he's not good enough at the other things, the ancillary things, as they say, without the ball in his hands? And is he good enough with the ball in his hands to warrant being a first, second, third guy on a high-level team? That remains to be seen for me. But the other guys on this team, Jabari Smith Jr., Alperen Şengün, who for me is the best player on this team, has gotten better every year. Then you have Amen Thompson, who was hindered by an injury last year in the very beginning of his NBA career, missed 20 games. You know what I'm saying? Jabari Smith averaged 14 points last year. I would like to see him if I'm speaking from a Rockets fan's perspective, bump that up a bit. Fred VanVleet is going to be Fred VanVleet. Dylan Brooks is going to be Dylan Brooks. I don't think much changes there. Alperen Şengün, though, he averaged 21 points a game last year to go along with 9 rebounds. I could see him averaging 23, 24 points a game this season. He's very good. He's a great passer, especially for a big man. Great touch around the basket. Elite post game. I've been a fan of him since I saw that clip of him working with Akeem. I was like, all right, this guy actually wants to get better. So he was their leading scorer last year. Jalen Green averaged 19.6 points a game on 42% shooting and 33 from 3. So for me, that's not very good. It's not very good in the modern NBA. He's got to be better. And again, he did end the season very well. So if you're a Rockets fan, you're hoping that he can take that next step up. And also, Alperen Şengün missed 19 games last year. But for anyone that's using that, I want to say, and I already mentioned Amen Thompson missing 20. And Tari Eason basically missed the whole season. He missed 60 games. And they got Reed Shepherd, who is like, what, 5th in the draft? Let's see. And Cam Whitmore. We handed them Cam Whitmore by trading for Eric Gordon. Sorry. Unbelievable. It's very unfortunate. But yeah, Reed Shepherd was picked, what, 5th in the draft, I believe? Let me double check that. Yeah, third in the draft. So you got Reed Shepherd, you got Jalen Green locked in. They just also re-signed Alperen Şengün today. And then you have Jabari Smith. I mean, the young core is there. Cam Whitmore, Amen Thompson. They have one of the best, futures in the NBA now for me. So, especially because of that Brooklyn Nets trade. They had Brooklyn's pick. If I weren't a Clipper fan, I would say that the Houston Rockets are going to be better than us because they're going to be better this year. I don't see any avenue in which they're not. But I think the guy to watch is Jalen Green. I'll be keeping an eye out on them, but I don't know if they've made enough changes for me to say they're going to be one of my league pass teams. I'll just be keeping an eye out. So, yeah, I have to have them not making it. Now, number 6, I'm not very high on this team, but actually, you know what? It's not them. It's a team that I think is a great regular season team, but they don't have as much depth as before, and they have some injury concerns, and that's the Memphis Teddy Bears. John Morant's coming back, and he's one of the best players in the NBA. That's not news to anybody. One of the best players in the NBA and a great regular season floor raiser because he only knows how to go 100 miles per hour, constantly attacking the rim. But because of that constantly attacking the rim and those dangerous landings, I am a little concerned about his health. He only played 9 games last year, and the season before that, he missed 21 games. And the season before that, he missed 25 games. So this isn't a guy that's been very healthy throughout the course of his career. But going into his 6th year, he obviously had the whole gun thing that he was suspended for. I think he's determined to really be on that floor this year. Jaren Jackson not starting the season, that concerns me a bit. But if he's back within the first 5 to 10 games, I don't think it'll mean much. I think the loss of Steven Adams, I mean, they didn't have him last year, and we saw how that turned out. I think the loss of Steven Adams is going to be pretty big. He's also on the Houston Rockets this year, which, again, it's like you've got Steven Adams coming off the bench. They're very deep, Houston. Very deep. So, yeah, Rockets fans, if you think I'm an idiot for saying you're going to be 11th, like, that's totally fair. I just can't say that I think you're going to be better than us because it's just a terrible situation if Houston's better than the Clippers. I just can't say it. But anyway, let's see. As far as the Grizzlies, yeah, I think Zach Edey will be interesting to watch. He's slated to start at center. How is he going to be handling guarding pick and rolls in the NBA with the spacing? I'm very interested to see that. Definitely going to, if for the Grizzlies, definitely going to try to keep him in drop. But here's the thing. You can even send him out to hedge screens. You have Jaren Jackson on the back line. I still think the Memphis Grizzlies are going to be pretty solid. And Marcus Smart last year, he didn't really play. He was injured too. So when you look at the games played, Jaren Jackson missed 16. Desmond Bane missed 40. John Morant missed 73. Marcus Smart, 62. Brandon Clark, 76. Luke Kennard, 40, 43. I mean, that's a lot of missed games. Even Santi Aldama, 21 games. They were not healthy. And they got Zach Edey out of it, who was picked 9th in the draft. They also have Vince Williams, who's out right now, though, and G.G. Jackson, who's also out. So, I don't know. They have some injury concerns, but they're a good regular season team. I got them 6th. But again, they could easily be in the plan. I'm going to address this. Lack of center depth keeps the Grizzlies out of my top 6. What about Brandon Clark, though, dude? He was one of the best backup bigs in the league when he was healthy. So I don't know if they have lack of center depth. Now, I'm going to go with number 10. And I'm sorry, guys, but it's us, the Clippers. I'm going with this 10th because Kawhi is not starting the season healthy. And we can't just burn James Harden to the ground. James is going to try to do his thing and just carry this offense, but he's 35 years old. Every single game is going to come down to his step back 3 going in. Unless we're an insane defensive team. Norman Terrence take a step up offensively. We actually feed Zubac in the post, and he proves to be, warranted the, second option kind of role creation-wise. And then Kevin Porter Jr. does great things off the bench. But because of Kawhi not being there and the question mark around him, because to me, let's say we just took Kawhi off the team and we had him play 0 games. This is not a play-in team. This is not. James Harden by himself with no co-star in 2025. It's just not it. I think we can be great defensively. If we had Kawhi, I think we have a chance to be top 5 defensively. Jeff Van Gundy, bringing his defensive philosophies. Law Murray was generous enough to share that he's going back to the old school, not forcing teams baseline, forcing teams middle, because that's where the help is. That's where Zubac is, essentially. And we're going to have crazy length and size in terms of closing out when we have Kawhi there. Between Derek Jones, Kawhi Leonard, Terrence Mann, Nico Batum, our size and ability to scramble and close out is going to take away what seems like open threes for the other team and make them put the ball on the floor more and keep swinging the ball, create shot clock violations, that whole sort of thing, and rotations at the rim. When Zubac gets pulled out a bit, Derek Jones Jr., Kawhi Leonard together, and Nico, especially in Derek Jones' case, the way he can cover ground, getting from a weak side corner to the rim in like 2 seconds because of his athleticism is just amazing. So I think we have such defensive potential, but the offense is going to be pretty nasty. And I think the way we can be saved is if we're still a top 5 defensive team without Kawhi, that we're able to create enough stops and get enough turnovers that we can get out and run. Because I've seen James Harden so far in preseason, he wants to throw that hit-ahead pass. He wants to get it going, the break. And Derek Jones Jr., Terrence Mann, Kevin Porter, and Kai Jones, who just got signed to that 2-way, which I'm really happy about because he was awesome in the preseason. They can run the floor, and they want to run the floor. As far as Mo Bamba, mean, he's injured right now, and I'm not too high on him. I really want Kai Jones to be the backup big, but then we still don't have a stretch big, and we've been wanting that. But yeah, the question mark for the Clippers is the offense. It's just James Harden ball pounding. It's my biggest nightmare. I am not looking forward to like actually seeing the Clippers play because of Harden's offense. I just can't stand it. But it's what we're gonna need. However, I am excited to watch us play defense, and I'm just excited for the Intuit Dome and interact with all the fans. Like that's what means a lot to me. But Brandon Ball offensively, yeah, we'll see. It'll be tough for me to watch, but we're gonna need Harden to do that to stay head above water until Kawhi comes back. Now, when Kawhi comes back, we're gonna sneak up on some teams depending on how Kawhi looks. If Kawhi can get back to, top 10 player in the league, which he was last year when he was healthy, and he played 68 games, mind you, we're gonna be way better than people think. But right now, because of the question mark around him, and we don't even know when he's going to come back, he's not even practicing yet. 10th seed. And that's being generous, if I'm being honest. Now, the play-in spots. Number 7, I'm going with a team that their fans just gassing them up. I don't think they're that great. They did add Tyus Jones and Mason Plumlee, and the rookie looks amazing, Ryan Dunn. But I'm going with the Suns. And the reason why I'm going with the Suns is because while Bradley Beal missed a lot of games last year, I believe 29 games, Kevin Durant played 75 games. I just don't believe that's going to be the case again this year. And I'm not wishing for KD to get hurt. Obviously, Kevin Durant being healthy is better for basketball. Devin Booker played 68 games. I think he should be around that again. But Devin Booker the previous year missed 29 games. And KD has missed his fair share of games the last couple of seasons. Last year was like this whole big deal. He was able to play 75 games. It was for a lot of guys, weirdly, like a lot of vets. Steph, LeBron, AD, Kawhi, Paul George. Interesting in that regard. But I just think the Suns, like they're saying Mason Plumlee's an addition. He's an upgrade over Jock Landale. Is he? Is he really? Because I saw Jock Landale in the playoffs, and him and Mason Plumlee were like, I think Landale may have had a better series. They were both not very good. But Mason Plumlee cannot protect the rim. He can just catch some lobs here and there. He thinks he's Magic Johnson sometimes on the break. And, I mean, yeah, defensively, he's a mannequin at the rim. He's not jumping. His timing is terrible. And I like Mason Plumlee before that knee injury, but it's unfortunate. Now, as far as Tyus Jones, I think he's going to help the Suns a lot. Having Grayson Allen get pushed to the bench, Royce O'Neal on the bench, they have some depth, I won't lie. But that point of attack defense, I'm not big on. You're essentially asking Bradley Beal, if you're going to start Tyus Jones, to guard the best guards on every team around the league. I think their offense and their personnel is still very redundant. It's a lot of guys that like contested jumpers and, 3-level scorers, but they don't get to the rim enough. And it's very redundant for me. All solid off the ball, but there's no point of having 3 of the same kind of player for me. They'll be a solid regular season team. They could easily finish higher than this, but I'm going with them 7th. I'm not very high on their roster at all. And their centers, they're big. Their interior defense is terrible. With Nurkic and Plumlee, if they lose Kevin Durant for 20 games, I mean, that defense is going to be horrific. So I'm going with them 7th. And honestly, they could finish even lower, in my opinion, but you still have KD and Devin Booker, who I'd say are probably 2 of the top 10 players in the world. Although Devin Booker, last season in the playoffs, he was insanely disappointing. Both KD and Book averaged 27 points a game in the regular season. And KD, actually, no, okay. Devin Booker averaged 27.5 points in the playoffs. He must have just started terrible then. I mean, I don't remember him averaging that many. Wow. And I watched every single one of those games and went live after every single one of them. KD averaged 27 as well. KD's efficiency was crazy in the playoffs. But I still think both of them, they don't. As far as KD, he hasn't made a huge impact in the playoffs for me since 2021. Like, he just doesn't get enough good shots for himself or his teammates. Yeah, Devin's points per game got inflated by game 4. He did not have a good series. KD had a good series, though, but it wasn't good enough to win a game. Like, that's embarrassing to me. KD got swept 2 out of the last 3 years in the playoffs. Come on, man. Insane. So, yeah, I'm not high on the Suns like that. First game, baby. We need a James Harden masterclass first game. That's crazy that I'm hoping for at the first game of the Intuit Dome, James Harden masterclass for the Clippers to win. Life is crazy, people. Life is insane. Can't even script it. Can't even script it. Literally. All right. Number 9. I had this team below the Clippers before the season, or before the preseason, but because of the Kawhi news, I'm going with the Golden State Warriors. Now, their fans are going to kill me for this because they're undefeated in preseason and they've clearly added some point of attack defense. Last year, all they had was Gary Payton and Wiggins, but Wiggins, was missing some time. Rest in peace to his father, Mitchell Wiggins. And he was spending time the last 2 years away from the team a lot because of that, spending the last couple of months of his dad's life with him. Last year, they won 46 games. They obviously lost Klay Thompson, so the Splash Brothers era is over. Draymond Green got suspended multiple times. He missed 27 games. But you saw an emergence of their young core a bit. Jonathan Kuminga finally got a chance. He started 46 games, averaged 16 points a night. Brandon Pajimski is one of the best rookies in the league. Started 28 games. And Wiggins did play 71 games, but his offense just did not look anywhere near what we saw in 2022. Draymond had a great three-point shooting year out of nowhere, 39.5%. But his antics were tough to watch. The Warriors had nobody on the roster that was over 6'10", and their point of attack defense was weak. They were small and old and slow. Now they've gone down and gone younger and longer with Kyle Anderson and DeAnthony Melton. You have Buddy Hield, who's been competing on defense in the preseason, from what I've been told. And, of course, he fits into the movement offense and three-point shooting of the Warriors very well. My issue with Golden State is they rely a lot on Draymond defensively around the rim. They still just have Trace Jackson Davis, who I think can take a leap if Kerr trusts him more this season. And Kuminga and Pods, they can take a leap too. But one concern with the Warriors for me is they have like 12 players that have a case to be playing. And that can be a little tricky for a coach. And especially with these stands on Twitter of Curry, they're going to be jumping at Steve Kerr's neck every 5 seconds when Moody doesn't get minutes or when GP2 doesn't get minutes and Buddy doesn't get minutes and all this shit. But it'll be interesting to see how that's managed. I think the Warriors are deep, but they just rely so heavily on Draymond defensively at the rim and then Steph offensively. Because last year he played 70 games, 74. I just don't see that this year. Same with KD. So if Steph Curry misses 17 games, what's the Warriors' record in those 17 games? Can they be a 500 team? It's going to come down to Kuminga and Pods. I think they have a bright future with those guys, but I'm not too high on the Warriors. They're a little old. They did get younger, but they're a little old, and they have no secondary option to Steph. And Steph is declining every year. He's amazing, but he's not top 5 anymore in the league to me. And I don't even know. He's still probably top 10. It's 26 points, 4.5 rebounds, and 5 assists. He's 34 years old. He's still incredible, but he lives on threes. And the games that it's not falling, of course, he's still creating a lot of shots with his movement, with his gravity and his movement off the ball. But he's not getting enough easy buckets anymore for me. So, someone said about the Phoenix Suns, Tyus and Bud make that team way better. Here's my thing about Bud. I didn't mention him, but I think it's a good hire. But Bud and Frank Vogel are both coaches that won one championship and have been heavily scrutinized. So, I don't know. He's a better fit for the team than Vogel, but it's not a needle mover for me. Anyway, I got the Warriors finishing 9th. They could easily do better. They could easily do worse. Now we got number 8. And I'm going with the final team. Wow, I saved them for last. Your Los Angeles Lakers, for all the Laker fans in the chat or listening to this episode. Crazy. I saved you guys for last. I got the Lakers in 8th because they didn't do anything besides hire a podcaster to coach. He's going to be better than Darvin Ham, I can assure you. It's going to be a lot more threes. It's going to be a lot more modern philosophy. But they have no backup big. Jackson Hayes is their best option, and that's it. What if Jackson Hayes gets hurt? What are you going to do? What are you going to do? Their bench is so weak to me. So weak. And LeBron and AD each played 70-plus games last year. Is that going to happen again? And Darvin Ham sure blew some games with his tinkering with his rotations the whole season. Not like, he went away from the lineup that got him to the conference finals with his Torian Prince fetish and all that. I mean, he took games off the Lakers last year with that. I don't know why it took so long. And JJ seems to have, know what he wants. AD, LeBron, Rui, and then Reeves and D'Lo starting. But that leaves off the bench. And by the way, the exact number, Anthony Davis played 76 games last year and LeBron played 71. And they finished in the 7th place in the West. D'Lo played 76 and Austin Reeves played every fucking game, 82. Like, there's just no way their health is going to be that good. I'm sorry. I'm not even trying to be a hater. Rui Hachimura played 68. I don't know, man. And I think the offense will be better. LeBron's just another year older. He's turning 40 this year, but I still think he's going to average 27, like 7 and 7. Like, the guy's just a freak. I don't understand how he's going to decline or when it's going to happen. Like, he's declining, obviously, but not fast enough. This is insane. Gabe Vincent will be healthier this year. I think that could help them a bit. But it's not like if that's a needle mover, Gabe Vincent's going to be healthier. Like, they're just another year older, and they were healthy last year. Their big four was healthy. Darvin Ham blew some games for them. Now, Jared Vanderbilt, he could really help if he came back, but I'm not so sure about him either, health-wise. Max Christie, expect to see him actually get real minutes this year, and I'm excited to see it. He's a good player. He will help them defensively massively. Dalton Connect, is he ready for minutes yet to shoot the ball? Real rotation minutes. Jackson Hayes is a backup. He's one of the lower tier backups in the league for me. Super athletic, but that's about it. And I've said that every year of his career. He's very active, though. He gets in the game, but he fouls a lot, and he's just not very polished. Cam Reddish had a very solid year, especially in the beginning of the season last year. Is he going to be a regular rotation player? I would say probably over Dalton Connect. He averaged 5 points last year, but he really declined as the season went on. I don't know. Cam Reddish has been a disappointment for me since coming out of Duke. But we'll see what opportunity Dalton Connect gets. If you haven't noticed, yes, I'm not mentioning. By the way, congrats to that Olivari guy, Quincy Olivari. That was touching, his story with Steph Curry. So congratulations to becoming a member of the Lakers. But Bronny James, there's a reason I'm not talking about him, because it's not worth talking about. I just don't think he's going to have any real role for the Lakers this year. He shouldn't have a real role. He might play in the first game to make history. It's just like what LeBron's able to do. I mean, the podcaster friend as a coach, his son on the team. It's insane what's being allowed, but whatever. I don't think it's going to matter that much in the grand scheme of things. My biggest question with the Lakers is this. Is JJ Baby Dick going to be able to make their offense more dynamic in the sense that it's so much movement? Like LeBron dribble handoffs, like having LeBron essentially play off the ball even more than he was. Because he's taken a step back since they got Austin Reeves and D'Lo, in the sense that he's been, just kind of chilling on the wing and managing himself that way. In addition to obviously AD initiating offense. But he's still been the guy with the ball in his hands the most for the team and the main engine of that offense. But it hasn't been as ball dominant than previous years, which I think has been smart on his part to let Reeves and D'Lo kind of get integrated into the game. And then second half, he kind of takes over. That's kind of been his MO. That was kind of his MO last year. And he was a better closer because of it. Because in 2022, he was awful closing games that whole season. And then beginning of 2023, same thing. Now he has more trust offensively in D'Lo and Reeves than Russ, of course. But JJ alluded to Anthony Davis being a hub for the Lakers offensively this year. So running him and more delay stuff, meaning him at the top of the key and running dribble handoffs off of him getting to work from there, him getting to, pass and then come set a screen, all, that's those side pick and rolls, all that. Really run your offense through AD, partially to conserve LeBron, and also because AD's been the best part on this team to me for the last 2 full seasons, in my opinion. In the playoffs, you can argue that LeBron is still that guy, but I don't think he's even outplayed AD in the playoffs the last 2 years. I think it's very 1A, 1B, but I've got Anthony Davis as the best player on that team. And I have for a while. His defensive impact is crazy. The way he's slept on defensively is outrageous. I get to watch him every night. His defense and drop coverage, his ability to switch, the way he can guard 2 players at once and can just snuff a pick and roll because of his presence. I mean, if they didn't have him defensively, they would be dog shit. And I know there's like some stats to the contrary. It's like, look, anybody with a brain can see what I see when they watch the Lakers play defense. Anthony Davis is one of the best defenders in the league. In my opinion, he's the best, and I've said that since the 2023 playoffs. But I don't know if he's going to be as healthy this year, and the same goes for LeBron. Because up until last year, their health was a major concern. Is Austin Reeves going to play 82 games? I'm not high on their depth. So I'm interested to see. Is JJ Redick going to play a motion offense? Like, is he going to have LeBron in motion I don't think so. And like D'Lo does not really move off the ball like that. I don't remember Reeves really moving off the ball like that. LeBron is a good cutter when teams sleep. He'll do the occasional cut a couple times a game, but I'm interested to see how JJ gets them going. He's not he hates the old school. So is he going to have AD in post ups? Because you still should post AD up, especially when he's become so good around the rim. There's been this whole thing about AD shooting a bunch of threes. I think AD is not a good 3-point shooter. Now his jumper did look better last year and towards the end of the 2023 season. But let's see what he shot from three last year. Still 27%. And it was 1.4 3-point attempts per game, which was his lowest since, in 2023 was 1.3. So he's been shooting less threes for a minute. He's not shooting a good percentage. He's really, really good around the basket. His 2-point percentage last year was 58%. He does have good post game. I don't think he leans into it enough, but I also don't think he's very comfortable. I don't know. I don't think he loves the post game. I think he's a solid post up player, but his go-to offense is that turn and face from around 12 feet. His jumper is still a little suspect for me, but the mid-range came back to a degree last year. Those little push floaters and foul line jump shots off the pick and pop, off the little pick and roll, short roll. Those are good. Those are pretty money. Then as a lob threat, he's fantastic. So Anthony Davis is set for another, for me, he was a top 10 player last year. I haven't done my top 10 rankings. I don't know if I will. I got to find time to do it, but my top 10 player rankings, it's always the last 2 seasons combined. So it's not really even a projection. It's like what they are right now. But yeah, it's going to be another good year for LeBron and AD. But for the Lakers, I don't know. I'm interested to see JJ's offense. Is it a motion offense? Is he going to not have post-ups? I think at this age, LeBron should be posting up more than ever. And I think he kind of has leaned into that more the last couple of years, which is smart. I thought last year LeBron's season was better than 2023 and 2022. And because of injury, 2021. But before Solomon Hill's injury, he was still in best player in the world conversations. He's never been like that since then for me. And that's fine. He's old. He's old as shit. He's the oldest player in the league. This 22 years is insane. At this high level, I mean, that's his best GOAT argument for me. But anyway, that's it. Those are my standings. I'm going to repeat them all one more time. Number 1, the Oklahoma City Thunder. Number 2, the Denver Nuggets. Number 3, the Minnesota Timberwolves. Number 4, the Dallas Mavericks. Number 5, the Sacramento Kings. Number 6, the Phoenix Suns. Number 6, the Memphis Grizzlies. Number 7, the Phoenix Suns. Number 8, the Los Angeles Lakers. Number 9, the Golden State Warriors. Number 10, the LA Clippers. Number 11, the Houston Rockets. Number 12, the New Orleans Pelicans. Sorry, Pelicans and Rockets fans. I'm being biased. I'm admitting. Number 13, the San Antonio Spurs. Number 14, the Utah Trash. Number 15, the Portland Trailblazers. And I'm just going to do awards because why not? MVP, I got SGA. Most Improved Player. Let's look at the FanDuel odds for that, honestly. I'm curious to see what people are saying. I think Brandon Pajimski might be a candidate just because I feel like his stats are going to increase because Klay Thompson's gone. He's going to be like the main ball handler when Steph's out. So I'm going to go with, let's see, Most Improved. Wemby is number 1. That's absurd. Jonathan Kuminga's up there. Jalen Johnson. If the Rockets are let's say a solidified playing team and Jalen Green averages 23 points a game, he might be that guy because he's in the odds. He's 6th in the odds on FanDuel. But he's a second pick in the draft. Eventually he's got to make a leap, right? Take a leap. I'm going to go with Brandon Pajimski. Fuck it. I'm going with him. Now, Defensive Player of the Year, everyone's picking Wemby. I'm like, dude, they're going to win 27 games. I pick him every year and he never wins. So I'm going to go with, I'm just going to do it because he deserves a Defensive Player of the Year once in a while. Anthony Davis. But the actual winner, I'm going to go with, I'll go with Rudy. I'm honestly going to go with Rudy Gobert again. I think his defensive impact is just that large. And he's going to be on a good enough team. So, Chet Holmgren, maybe dark horse. Let's see what the odds are there. Defensive Player of the Year. Wemby's number 1. Chet second. Okay. Ooh, Bam Adebayo. I just don't think the team's going to be that good. Okay, the one I want to win, well, I would want Ivica Zubats to win, but Anthony Davis, would be the one that I want to win if the voters weren't assholes to Anthony Davis for some reason. But they're just so obsessed with the defensive metrics, the advanced stats. But I'm gonna go with Chet Holmgren. That's gonna be my pick. Wemby's odds are crazy for it, minus 155, and everyone else is plus 1,000 or more. Insane. So yeah, I have most improved Pajimski, defensive player of the year, Chet. Rookie of the year, I'm gonna go with Zachary Risache for Atlanta. I just think he's gonna get opportunity. And my runner-up there would be Alexander Sarr. MVP, I have SGA. And then what's the other award? Sixth man, I'm going with Malik Monk because I have the Kings high. So I'm going with Malik Monk. Then coach of the year, I'm going to go with Joe Mazzulla, honestly. I think people are going to be more hip to like how good of a coach he is, and they're going to win 60-plus games again, and they're going to go with him. Everyone's saying Bam, and I think Bam is in that same conversation with AD. He doesn't get enough credit from national media, and the Heat are going to be so mid this year, so I don't think he's going to be there. But anyway, that's it, ladies and gentlemen. I'm have these all time-stamped. So if you want to know what I'm doing this season, check out the video I just posted. I also reacted to the Dodgers. So here's my schedule for the upcoming week. Tonight, I'm going live again for basketball in Figueroa, and there'll be a Locked On Clippers in a couple of hours as well. On Tuesday night, Lakers, Timberwolves, post-game live. We are going live for the first game of the season. Also, be talking about the new-look Knicks with Mikal Bridges and Cat against the Celtics. And then on Wednesday night, I will be going to the game at Intuit Dome. Yeah, the Eastern Conference preview is out, for anyone that's wondering. The Eastern Conference preview is out with the 4 sportsmen. And Sporting Page saying the Heat always surprise everyone. Did they surprise anyone last year? Not really. So, if anything, they surprised everybody with how bad they were after coming off a championship appearance. But I've got what? Oh, Wednesday night, I'm going to the game. So, you're going to have a big vlog on Thursday, the first game of the Intuit Dome ever. That one should be insane. I just bought my ticket today. I got a really solid seat right next to I'm in the wall, and I'm right next to the supporter section. So it's going to be amazing. First game at Intuit Dome. It's going to be crazy. If you haven't checked out my video of the first preseason game, it's one of my best videos of all time. 18,000 views. This one, I won't have somebody filming me in third person. I think that was a special occasion for that because I'm not going to be just showing everyone the stadium. It's going to be more about the first game, the fans, how we're feeling, of course, the game itself. I barely filmed actual game footage. This one's going to be about the atmosphere during the game. So it's going to be special. And then Thursday, I don't think I'm going to have a video that day. Maybe. Yeah, I'm just going to let my vlog simmer that day. And then on Friday, post-game after the Dodgers-Yankees World Series Game 1, as always, inviting any Dodger fans to come up and speak. And I'll be talking about Lakers-Suns that night as well. So that's the schedule for the week. Let's go. Appreciate you guys. Are you excited for the season? Let me know. Comment on the recent videos. Dodger Live, Dodger Vlog. Go Dodgers. This is special. One of my teams are in the championship, man. This is set. LA is set for explosion. It's going to be incredible. And then, of course, my Eastern Conference preview. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. Peace, everybody. And I'll be live again tonight for Basketball in Figueroa. So I'll see you in a couple hours.